It's time for our episode of self-important commentary of our 2019 predictions coming at you.
Hello from Detroit. I'm Brad.
Hello world, I'm Joel.
That was really low energy. This is Joel, ladies and gentlemen, and this is going to be fantastic for you. We've got a wonderful episode for you today. We got our 2019 predictions coming to you. Happy New Year to each and every one of you.
Hey, Happy New Year, the world didn't end.
Yeah.
If you're watching this.
Woo! Let's just dive right into this. Okay. 2019, let's just start out with a section, buy or sell. We'll talk about a topic, buy if we like it, think it's going to go well, sell if not. Let's get into it. IGTV, buy or sell, Joel?
Not only am I selling, I am shorting it as much as possible. IGTV has not gotten its act together. I don't think it will get its act together. I think it is still trying to figure itself out, and there is a code that they have not cracked yet.
Okay, so staying...
Wait, hey, you know what? If you want to learn more about that, we have a whole other video about
true.
IGTV that you can go check out right now.
Whole bunch of detail.
Selling.
You're gonna love it. So we're gonna take a step back from just IGTV and think about all the world of Facebook video. So that includes Facebook Watch. So let's talk a little bit about Facebook Watch.
Are you buying or selling?
Buy, or you're gonna ask me?
I'm asking you. Are you buying or selling Facebook Watch?
Wow. So I'm gonna go ahead and buy Facebook Watch. I'm gonna buy Facebook Watch because it's priced right at this point in the market. Facebook Watch, yes, Facebook's advertising that it's growing by 3x over the last handful of months, and so there is some growth, but they're also starting from such a low point, and Facebook has the ability very easily to direct people as they want inside of their platform, that I think there's a hell of a lot to figure out. They're really far behind YouTube, but I think there's room for growth and room for improvement relative to where they are. So it's more of a market timing buy, definitely not saying they're gonna surpass YouTube. What's your take on Facebook Watch?
Right now, from what I've seen, I am selling. I think there are key things that Facebook could do that they haven't done, and it's not like they haven't had 8 months to do it. They had a really, really rough start. They alienated a whole bunch of creators. Creators who had come on early that were willing to give it a shot left out of frustration because Facebook just kept changing and changing and changing. Look, this is, we're gonna get big picture economics here. The entropy is the enemy of progress. So the more unstable a environment, be it laws constantly changing, be it a flood of regulations and then regulations getting pulled, whatever. The law of entropy holds. The more entropic an environment, the less progress can be made. Facebook has made itself a highly entropic environment, and therefore, I am selling that. And also, I would say Facebook as a whole is in trouble. Right now, as we are talking about this, the portal is rolling out. Not too thunderous applause, and I think Facebook as a whole has to be really, really careful. I say they missed their opportunity. This window is closed. I'm selling.
Yep, fair enough. Fair enough. So we'll see what's happening with Facebook Watch over the course of next year. This next one is a really interesting topic: artificial intelligence influencers, or AI influencers. Yeah, so what do you think is going to be happening over the course of the next year or so? Are you buying them or are you selling them?
Okay, I am buying. And here's why I am buying. And I know that I'm way out on a limb. This is a flyer, I get it, but I think, right now there aren't any AI influencers that are out there that are interesting and that have cracked the code. They haven't. But I believe there is a code to be cracked. And here's why. This is where my mental framework for this is going to be the equivalent of a digital pet. All right, so a pet, and I'm going to just use dogs because I can speak more authoritatively about them. Dogs love unconditionally. They are always happy to see you. They are, in almost all cases, positive. They provide joy. They provide companionship, judgment-free, criticism-free. They are there, and I honestly believe that there is a niche of AI influencers that could legitimately serve that role, and meaningfully so, Because look, I see this as a natural extension. We live so much of our lives right now digitally, which by means it is a filtered artificial experience through some kind of digital medium that replaces, now I think that's been toxic in the case of Facebook, because people are bigger a-holes on Facebook than they ever would actually be in real life for the most part, but then that started to trickle out. So I think there's this desperate need for kindness, for compassion, for things, and someone's gonna come up with an AI influencer that is going to do that. The other huge piece of data, and this is like, I only have 2 pieces of data, pets and this, that you have a world in Facebook where a channel, and this is not a criticism, so if you have one of these channels, this is not a criticism. You have a world where people, it's these channels dedicated to unpacking these like little squishy things. And I think it's just called a squishy. And you will have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people just all around these squishy things. And it's like, in a world where that exists, then
people can run anything.
And someone is going to figure out an AI influencer that will love that viewer in a way that no human can consistently do. That's my theory.
I love it. I'm going to tell you my take here in a second. But first, let me go on a tangent and tell you that the fun thing is that in every relationship, there's a dog and a cat. So you just need to think about who's the one that's always happy, wagging their tail, unconditional love, and who's the one that, like, is going to
earn it.
You got to earn it. You're never quite sure if you can trust them. Just something for you to marinate on. All right, so going back, tangent over. Let's talk about AI influencers. I'm selling the hell out of this, right? I mean, there's been some nice trends. The whole poppy thing. I liked it. I watched like 3 videos for a while. There have been others, but it just feels like a kid's toy that's really gimmicky. People like influencers because they're authentic and they can relate to them. You can't, at the end of the day, relate to something that's artificial intelligence. People just don't feel that connection.
People relate to Logan Paul, Brad.
Yeah, well, Logan Paul is a human. Believe it or not, he's got love for his brother, and he showed that by responding when his brother got in a whole bunch of trouble. Anyways, so yeah,
you're selling.
AI definitely selling. All right,
next up,
live streaming. Buy or sell?
I'm selling. It's not that it's not going to be a thing, but I am selling because live streaming, in my opinion, will never be a platform where advertisers move in a meaningful enough way to actually support an ecosystem and have people be able to quit whatever other day job they have to be able to produce content to be live streamed. And I would say live streaming suffers the exact same systemic flaws that Snapchat did, where however interesting of a platform it is, however real the engagement, however much somebody likes streaming and like watching streams, it does not support it does not support advertisers. It is not attractive to advertisers in any kind of meaningful way. And I would say in this day and age where a company can be absolutely skewered for one of their peoples saying the wrong thing and it unleashing a Twitter mob, there's no legal department of any major company that's going to say, yeah, we're cool with this.
Well, except we may or may not be working with one right now who's doing a very big deal, and it is around live streaming, and they do have a legal department who's fantastic, which drives me to the point of saying I am buying this because I do think there is evidence out there that live streaming is going to continue to progress. There's a lot of hurdles, to your point, in terms of the brand risk associated with, especially in video gaming, young males who are not very mature, and no insult to them, I wasn't any better at their age, but they're not very worldly. They don't understand the impact of what they're saying. So that's challenging, but where I think there's excitement is people can start to put out content that's similar to YouTube, but they might do it more talk show style. There's some ways that I think you can mitigate the risk and still have it be live streamed. And so I'm excited about that, and maybe I'm biased because I grew up looking forward to certain shows on a certain night at a certain time, and live streaming allows you to do that. And I think there's a way to mitigate certainly not eliminate some of those brand risks. So I am buying.
We'll see. I am very comfortable. All right, a couple big trends. Influencer marketing in 2019. Let's wrap this up. One of the big trends that we see is how we're going to measure the success of YouTube campaigns. Obviously, this has enormous impact for us. So what are your thoughts there?
I think we are going to see in 2019 real measurements start to come into the space around YouTube. So people are moving to YouTube from TV. There's a lot of data out there around TV. Frankly, it's imperfect, and no one's clearly cracked the code in terms of measuring success around TV, but there's trusted metrics and rubrics that CFOs have come to be able to depend on. I think we're going to see some of those metrics come into YouTube. I also think there's an opportunity for a more holistic model of understanding all of the intricacies of how there's value inside of YouTube. And I think we're going to see more and more people lean on that, especially as brands are more interested in doing branding as opposed to direct response on YouTube. So I think we're going to see a lot of progress in 2019 when it comes to measuring success on YouTube.
I mean, that frankly, and I think you're absolutely right, but that frankly is one of the biggest things that I think is holding back about a $10 billion tidal wave coming into YouTube is if you measure it like you measure your paid search, it's not as good. And you can't measure it the same way you measure TV because it's the views are spread out over time. It's not all at once. And so you can't see the response immediately following some TV spot. And so it's in this nether region where it's neither. And until brand dollars get frustrated enough at not being able to be effective on TV and spend efficiently, and I think that's happening, but until that really happens and you have intense frustration, that's when the dollars come in, that's when the attribution models get built, that's when YouTube, I think, takes its next big leg up. And it's going to be a big leg if YouTube doesn't manage to shoot themselves in the foot prior to, which is another video that we'll get into. Okay, second big trend. Big influencers will be less interested in partnering with brands since they're creating their own brands and companies. Explain.
Yeah, I see this a couple of things happening. So really big YouTubers, these are now folks who are just flat out celebrities, and celebrities tend to skew more diva than the average person. And so with celebrities, one, they're making a ton of money. Why do I want to deal with a brand? This kind of seems like a pain in the ass. And oh, by the way, it's going on my channel, so this is something that I control. That's where influencer is in some ways less appealing than celebrity, because when you go down the celebrity path, people all know about them, and then you're just pushing stuff out as clear paid media. You're not asking to use the sphere of influence of a creator or an influencer. So that is inherently problematic. The other thing, the second trend that I see happening is that influencers are saying, why should I shill for brand X? Why don't I just create a brand myself? And yeah, I'm gonna have to hire a CEO and a business, but wow, I've got a hell of a sales and marketing engine. So I'm just gonna go forward with that.
I agree. I would take maybe a slightly less cynical view in that they're yes, divas, but the smart and savvy creators recognize that there is a life cycle to YouTube. They have a shelf life. Yes. It is deteriorating quickly, and if they do not pivot this momentary period of enormous fame and effectiveness, then they will wind up like so many washed up YouTubers who were super famous and super big 8 years ago, who are languishing, if they're even still on the platform right now. And I think they say, like, I've got to take my 15 minutes of fame and I've got to pivot it into something meaningful, and then make it about, use what I have right now to make a brand that is bigger than myself, or do something to kind of pivot it into something that's self-sustaining outside of YouTube, especially. And this is where YouTube is screwing itself. By where you have this again, back to entropy that we were talking about in an earlier video. When you are living, dying by the vicissitudes of the algorithm, and you do not know if the algorithm will smile on you or not, that creates an enormous amount of uncertainty, and it incents creators to pivot into something else and use their momentary fame to do that. So those are what we think are big trends. So, all right,
entropy, vicissitudes. We are really coming at you hard in 2019.
Caffeinated. Okay, thank you so much for chiming in. Chat with us on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the relevant ones that you use. So long from Detroit.